Hi, this is Jennie Walker, and welcome to Closet Conversations. Today I'm coming live from Poshfest2019 in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm bringing to you two more seller stylists from Poshmark to talk about their experience with the brand, their time at Poshfest, and some more information on some of the inside things about Poshmark that take place, like Posh and Sips, where you meet other sellers, and hold on, here they come. First is, I will bring to you Amanda Miller. She has a Poshmark closet called Cute and Thrifty. And then next will be Ziaja. Ziaja, I love that. Jane Ziaja with the tricky name, but I got it. And her closet is DC Girl 04. And so great. So Amanda, Jane, you obviously know each other.
Yes, we do.
So tell me what brings you to Poshfest.
This is our third Poshfest, actually.
Poshfest.
Yeah, so we are actually cousins, related by marriage.
Wow.
Jane is my mother-in-law's first cousin.
Okay.
So we actually met a couple years ago. I had already been selling on Poshmark for about 2.5 years. And I was at my mother-in-law's one day, and she said, "Oh, my cousin Jane was just talking about Poshmark," and I said, "I'll have to invite you out to lunch." And so we met that way.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
I had been hearing about the app from some coworkers.
Okay.
So the timing was just right when I had met Amanda, and the rest is history. And I joined, and
We went to Chicago that year for the first.
It was our
Poshfest together.
first Poshfest.
Wow, Posh and
2017.
this is a family affair here. This
Yes.
is
It is.
terrific. Takes community to the next level, right?
Yeah.
Literal
Definitely.
family.
Our husbands will posh with us,
Yes.
and
Oh
even
my
the
God.
children
It really
will
is
go
a
sourcing.
family
It is a family affair. That's kind of our family joke.
Yes.
A little bit. It's a family
So
affair.
tell me a little bit about how this compares to Chicago 2 years ago.
You want to take that one,
Very,
Jane?
very close. We had a wonderful experience in Chicago. It was our first one. The venue was beautiful. We are loving everything about Dallas. The venue's fantastic. Our hotel is fantastic. The food's wonderful. So we're having a really good time. Really good time.
So we said Dallas, but we mean Phoenix.
Correct.
We are in Phoenix.
Phoenix, yes.
So
I'm sorry.
In Chicago,
My
our
apologies.
hotel was about a block away, so that was good. It was really close. The venue was beautiful. Same here.
Okay.
Really close with the hotel. Venue's right across the street. It's wonderful. Food's good. People are good. Everything is.
Yes,
it's
we're
good.
loving it.
So tell me a little bit about the vibe. Okay, so this is my first one, which I'm loving, and so I don't have anything to compare it to. But other people have said, like last year was more about the community, more of a feel-good kind of vibe to it, like less data, more kind of relationship building and kind of a sense of community among the sellers. Can you talk to how the look and feel of the event is different? Because Plus is going to be different by the fact there's just simply, 1,600 people here or something?
Yes,
So
it's
like,
double
incredible.
what it was last year.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit how the vibe is different and the number of attendees.
So last year there was about 800 people, give or take, in Dallas. The venue was very, very different. The hotel was not as close at all. It was everyone either drove or Ubered. It was very different. It was in a bar, a very big bar that hosts a lot of like wedding events and things like that. I think because of the venue last year, yes, the community and getting together with your PFFs and meeting everybody was a strong point. But they did talk about data too. They did not have anybody talking about data the previous year in Chicago. So it was nice to hear from Barca with all the data science last year. And so it was nice to have that again this year to just get the analytics behind, if you do such and such, you're 40% more likely to make that sale. We like to have all that data. So, but I think the overall vibe last year was everybody meeting. I think it really connected with us too. We met a lot more people last year than we did the previous year. So we knew that we had to come this year too.
Yes.
So it's double from last year?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was
had
800
said, we want to
last
double
year.
it. So we were wondering, where was it going to be that could fit that many people?
Yes.
Well, I mean, $1,600. That's the amount of my Poshmark sales. No, I'm just kidding. I wish. So 1,600 people is an extraordinary amount of
Yes, it
people
is.
at
Yes.
any conference
Yes.
on any topic.
Yes, I think this year too. We were talking earlier. We're kind of getting the feeling we've been trying to connect all day with some of our PFFs, and I think because there is so many people, I think everybody's kind of getting lost
in the crowd. Right. We were just talking about that.
Right.
So
now,
definitely feeling that this year.
Now, there's also like 3 levels to this place. This place is huge, by the way. This Phoenix Convention Center. It's in downtown Phoenix. Right. The recommended hotels across the street at the Hyatt. Many people are staying other places, but it is on 3 levels, they're trying to handle 1,600 people. So I can see how you would miss some of the people. Now, tell people what a PFF is in case they don't know. It's some of the lingo, just so you know. Poshmark has built its own community and has its own language, so to speak.
Yes,
and we're going to talk about Posh and Sips in a minute. But tell the listeners what a PFF is.
It is a Posh friend forever.
Yes.
The PFF.
So somebody you met on the app, essentially, that you are now connected with and you're friends with. You consider them a friend.
So it also, I guess, would carry over into the conference. So PFF is the one you meet at the conference.
Yes.
I think I've already met some PFFs on this trip, which is terrific. And I've never been into a conference where I felt like I could just talk to anybody about anything, because we're all in this together. If you're here, 99.999% you are selling on the app.
That's right.
The Posh love is real.
It is a real thing.
It is very real.
As a matter of fact, Manish, the CEO, did talk about this whole love, literally used the word love, and talked about this community and, the importance of it. It's not just about the money. And I really thought that was immense. He also talked about embracing your uniqueness, but he used a different word, didn't he? Weirdness. Embracing your weirdness. He's like, do you think you're weird? That you fit in. He's like, we all think we're weird. I thought that was awesome because
we did too.
I certainly, as a creative person, feel like I'm completely strange and weird, like wonderfully weird, the kind that your mothers love, mothers love. But anyway, I really liked that. And you really get a feel for what this company is about when you come to this conference. Because I don't think you can fake this. You know what I'm saying?
This would be a lot of work to go.
This feels authentic to me.
Is.
And
it's the same feeling year to year. I mean, their message doesn't change. Embrace your weirdness. Yes. If you are standing in line, you can talk to anybody.
Yes.
Sit with anybody.
Right. We felt it at our first Posh Fest, and we still feel it now, being our third, the Posh Love.
Yeah. Posh Love. Well, I know I'm inspired, and it's only been the first day, and it makes me want to just go back and fix everything that I don't feel is perfect, and really put even more effort into this. Right. So let's talk about a Posh and Sip. So you both tell me what community you're from again.
We're from southeastern Wisconsin, right between Chicago and Milwaukee.
Yes. All right. So there is something called a Posh and Sip, and I'm going to let you tell the listeners what that is. And now you said you've hosted some. So can you talk about what it is, how you go about hosting one, what it takes to become a host, and then what's involved?
So a Posh and Sip is a gathering of local poshers. You can host at a restaurant, a coffee shop, a bar, your house. It really does not matter how many people or where it is. It's just a gathering of local poshers getting together, talking about what we do best, poshing.
Tips or helping new poshers get started with their closet.
Anything. You can make it anything. You can do an educational session. You can just do a community session. You can just do, I think someone was talking today about a Poshfest recap that they're going to do when they go home. You can really make it whatever you want as long as it's a get-together of poshers. And Poshmark will send you, once you register your Posh and Sip, they will send you a box of swag to include for photos, balloons. They'll send you a host gift and a name tag, and then maybe a door prize to raffle off. It's wonderful.
It is.
So I'm thinking that you're not going to learn about what a Posh and Sip is, or even know that it's taking place in your community, unless you actually have joined Poshmark. Right?
Yes,
because it's something that's advertised within the app. So it's important for listeners to know if you have not joined the Poshmark app. And, of course, I recommend that you do. I am a seller on there. As a matter of fact, if you want to, what is it, $5 or is it $10? Is it $10? $10 shopping credit. Use my Jenniegirl's Closet recommendation, Jenniegirl, CLOS, is truncated. You get like $10 shopping credit if you join, and I don't think I've ever even mentioned that before, but now that we're talking about it. So it's something
really nice.
You have to join Poshmark. It's free to join. There is an app. You can also access it on your computer, on your laptop, or desktop. And once you join, you will learn about these Posh and Sips that may or may not be taking place in your neighborhood. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Poshmark also does their own events, right, around the country.
Yes, they do the Posh Party Live. And every couple months they'll announce where the next one is. They've been having a lot of them lately, though. I think in preparation for Poshfest, Canada opening up, and they've really been trying to bring the communities together. So you may have had one last year, and they'll probably come again this year. So, but it's like a mini Poshfest.
But it's kind of actually a genius move on the part of Poshmark to create events where the community basically trains the community.
Right.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Because no company can be everywhere.
Right.
And certainly saves on training costs to get its community to do the training for them. As a matter of fact, one of the things I keep longing for is Poshmark's own training. And I don't know, this is training coming to the conference, but I've never seen a Poshmark's own training. Here's how to do X, Y, Z on the app. And I don't know why that is. So we are limited to what someone else is saying. We're limited to a secondary resource to tell us what are the best practices on the app and to literally show us. And so many resellers that are on YouTube are doing that. But I guess I keep hoping and wishing that it would come from Poshmark itself. So there must be some reason that's not happening. Maybe it's part of keeping the playing field level. Maybe it's all part of the fact that the sharing levels the playing field, and that if they come up with some sort of training, it might take away from that. But I have my own theories. But I do understand that the Posh and Sip is a way to add informal training and basically spreads out like a weed all over. Well, right now it's all the U.S. and Canada, but probably all over the world at some point.
That's what was nice, I feel, about our first Posh and Sip. I actually opened up my home, and we actually invited new Poshers that we knew. There were people that we both had worked with, and it was really, I feel, a learning session. We did some photography at that session and helped them list it. I airplayed things on my TV from my phone, and we ran through, this is what you do, this is how easy it is to click here, and we were running through it really step by step. So it was a nice opportunity for us to teach, because that is how we learned everything from people that mentored us, and it was such an honor to be able to mentor these other new Poshers and help them get their closets running. So it was really a good opportunity.
Well, Jane, you and Amanda are just all in on this thing. You've been to three. Think about it. You've been to three.
We've done three. Yes.
You've invested your money and your time and your resources in 3 conferences.
Yes.
You've hosted how many Posh and Sips?
3.
We've done 3 of them. Yes.
We've done 3.
They've all been very different.
3 since last December.
Yes. And we actually they have something new that they're piloting, or what would be a better word? It's in the
program that they're trialing.
Called the Posh and Sip Coffee Edition.
Yes.
And to be quite honest, we would have loved to participate in that, but it's in the trial phase, and it was a 5-week commitment, 5 weeks in a row.
Consecutive, yeah.
And during that time frame, I couldn't make the commitment on 2 of those weekends, so we weren't able to do it, but we kind of were intrigued. We liked that concept, because meeting at Starbucks, talking and help. It's really nice to help new Poshers.
Yeah,
I love the whole idea. Now, for those who are listening, they did make an announcement. I'm sure they'll get more into it tomorrow. Today was the teaser day, teasing about all of the cool things that are coming without actually telling you what they are. One of that was this whole idea of the instead of a Posh and Sip, it's still called a Posh and Sip, right? But it's the coffee edition. So it's morning coffee at Starbucks all around the country. And so they're trying it out. I did sign up myself to host. And I've got 2 people that I know are going to host with me. and to get it going in Pasadena, which is great because I had conflicts with doing these evening events.
Right.
And so I just never got it together. But this coffee thing, I mean, I think it's just genius because everyone can afford a cup of coffee. It's during the day.
Right.
It's on a Saturday.
Casual.
I think it's wonderful.
We do too. And who doesn't love Starbucks?
Right.
I know. I think it's great. So I'm really, really excited about that. So tell me a little bit about the things in your closet. Amanda, what types of items are you selling, and what is kind of your brand, if you will?
Right now, I do have, it's obviously mostly women. I would say about 90% women stuff. So clothing, shoes. I don't have any handbags or accessories right now. I have a very few pieces of men's clothes, one or two kids' pieces, and very few home goods pieces. I originally started off with only shoes, only women's shoes, and then quickly realized that I should add some clothing. So that really kind of boosted everything and led to where I am now.
Now, tell me about these things that are in there. Where did they come from? Is this something that was your own inventory? You're selling for a friend, or you went out sourcing, or a combination?
I'm going out sourcing. So we are
Great.
very, very lucky in southeastern Wisconsin. We have a lot of good Goodwills and a lot of good thrift stores within driving distance.
So in terms of sourcing, obviously the Goodwill. Now, do they have a Ben's there? A Goodwill Ben's?
We just got one in Sturban.
Yeah.
You just got a Ben's?
Within,
Yeah.
I would say,
gosh.
the last year and a couple months. So it's been with us a little over a year now.
And you've been?
We have
Yes,
been.
definitely.
I have to say I'm kind of torn on the Ben's. The shoes, I can go and look through the shoes names very quickly. But the clothing, I just don't know that I can get into.
It's a muscle building
It's a
activity.
little
It is,
different, yes.
and I think I prefer my clothes hanging.
Right. It is
different.
something else. So what, you've been to the Ben's then?
I have. I feel the same. The shoes are easier.
Yes.
The clothes, it's a little more work. And I do the same as Amanda, sourcing from an estate sale to any of the local thrift stores. And my closet is mainly women's, a little bit of men's, and home goods. And I also have a separate kids closet. And that has been really nice to sell some of my children's things.
I'm glad to hear your kids is selling, because I put up a few kids' things and no interest, not an offer, nothing. So I took it all down. Not that it had much, but it was the inventory that I had on eBay, and I just took it down because I'm like, okay, something's not working for me, so I'm not going to worry about it. I just took it down, set it aside, and so it's only for sale on eBay. But maybe I'll revisit it after listening to the statistics, which tell me I need it up there anyway. But I think maybe there's a correlation between clothing that's for infants that's used versus an older child, and I think that's probably, there's maybe some reservations. I mean, there might probably would be with me that they don't want to buy something used that's like a onesie or something like that. And not that that's what I had, but like I had some things that I think maybe it was too young and they were too concerned with the condition because it wasn't new with tags.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know, but that was my theory at the time. But according to the stats, I need something in every category, so I'm going to revisit that, but not right away. But it's in the back of my mind.
Yes.
So, the sourcing looks like it's good. Now, you said you like your clothes hanging, so
I do.
when you're going through we're going to skip for a minute and talk about sourcing because we're here, and that's why we're here talking about all this. So, you source mainly at the Goodwill, and tell me what you look for when you go in there, and what gets you to actually buy something, because there's a lot of choice. And I just to make this point, there is no shortage of inventory.
There really isn't.
In the world. I mean,
really isn't.
Once you get into this reselling, it is overwhelming, the amount of goods that exist in the world, and how these goods are treated, how we as people store things, dispose of things, move things, dump things, donate things, and it's overwhelming. And I think it wasn't until I started going to the Ben's, because it's not only all of this stuff. If you peek behind the doors for a minute and you see racks and racks and racks and pallets of just
Bales. They're almost like
stuff. It's like bales of hay.
Bales,
Yeah. And
That's
it's like,
the
oh, well, this
feeling.
is why they
There's
called
a
it the
time.
rag trade. which I never understood that. But there's a point at which it literally is like it's in your mind. It's almost worthless. It's like just a rag.
Right.
And so when you realize the amount of inventory that's out there, and it takes a while to really understand that there's no shortage, and I mean the shortage isn't even just in terms of sourcing. It's like from a buying perspective, it takes a while to realize there's no shortage.
Right.
And for me, and this is just a sidebar, is because I specialize in some like vintage Moschino and some really hard to find things. Once I started getting push notifications, once I set up alerts, once I started joining all these auction houses, and I realized it really isn't that hard to find.
Right.
It really isn't rare.
It just grows. Yes.
Like it really
Yes.
isn't.
Well,
and so there's
you
this.
have to be very selective.
Yeah, there's a perception of
Correct.
scarcity
Right.
that actually doesn't exist.
No.
It's perceived. So I want you to talk to me, now that I've said that, about when you're sourcing at the Goodwill and knowing that there's no scarcity. What is it that gets you to actually pay $6 for a skirt, right?
So for me, I've been even more selective lately. I think with everything that I'm purchasing, if I'm going to spend my money on an item, I have to know that it's going to at least bring me $25 to $30 at the minimum. So I have been very, very careful looking at condition. First of all, when I'm sorting through the racks, I'm looking at all of the tags first. First and foremost, if I see a tag that is either a brand that I like, a brand I don't recognize, but it looks like a good quality tag, maybe looks a little fancier, I will pull it off the rack. If I know what it is, right away I'll look at it, look at the condition, the style, and take a look from there.
Now, when you say tag, you mean the brand tag?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
just want to be sure, not the price tag.
Nope,
Okay,
nope,
just
I'm
want to
looking
check.
at the brand. So
Okay.
if I recognize it, I pull it, look at the style, look at the condition. If it doesn't meet one of those requirements, I put it back. So if there's a stain that I know I'm not going to treat, I'm not going to bother to wash that. There's too much pilling, there's a snag, there's some kind of damage that I don't want to deal with, I'll put it back. If it's an older style, I'll put it back. A lot of the brands like J. Crew, Madewell, Athleta, American Eagle, different brands, you can look at the date code to see how current that style is. So underneath the care tag, there's usually a very small tag with the date code on there, so when it was produced. And usually, I'm looking within the last year only. Unless it's a very eye-catching piece, then I may make an exception, depending on the price, obviously. But first and foremost, I'm looking at the brand, pull it up, condition, and the style. Then, if it's something I don't recognize and my husband is with me, then I will put it in the cart and say, can you look that one up for me?
That's a big help.
So he's usually taking a look at that for me while I'm shopping. So what about you, Jane? It's pretty much similar.
Very much the same. Yes, you pretty much touched everything I was going to say to the listeners. Don't just buy a brand because it is anthropology. I was going to say, look at the condition. Look at the condition. That's a huge thing. Don't just grab it because of the name. And that's exactly it. The same thing.
What's interesting is that we as resellers are dealing with all the things that traditional retail has always dealt with, is knowing what to buy.
Right.
What's trending.
And you don't get, and no store ever gets it right. 100% traditional retail. I'm not talking about the latest Yeezy drop, mind you. I'm just talking about your regular department store, although they seem to be all going by the wayside. But a regular department store has a buying office. And they do their best to anticipate the trends. They study it. They go to fashion weeks. They try to figure it out. And we as resellers are in the same position. We are buyers, just like you would for any department store, but we're buying for our closet. So we have to anticipate trends, styles, fashion, what's going to sell. And there's a lot of things that inform that decision. Like for my closet, for example, I sell every single solitary pair of cowboy boots I've ever put on there. And I think it's because that boho chic is a style, festival chic. But I did notice they always sold quickly until I put a pair up. There was a men's pair that was like beige. And I realized
Yes.
nobody wanted, and it was super worn out. They came from the bins. I didn't pay maybe $1 or $2. And I ended up selling for under $20, like $14 to get rid of them.
Wow, yeah.
Because they were more worn than I'd ever had before. And they were an odd color. And it just went to tell me, okay, every boot sells that's cowboy boot, but it needs to be a dark color.
Right.
And it needs to be in better condition or it's going to sit there forever. And so this man bought these boots for $14 and he was quite happy to get them. And I'm like, I was relieved to sell them.
Right.
But for me, I now know, okay, cowboy boots always sell, but I'm not going to buy a pair that's beige and I'm not going to buy a pair that's completely worn out.
Know what sells best for
Unless
you.
it's Rocket Buster boots, in which case, which is so famous and custom made, that's a different story. But so I learned from that. So every hat sells for me, which is bizarre. Like I don't even have that many hats, but every hat, I'm like, well, who are these people buying these hats? And so now I look for hats.
Yes.
I'm like, but not every hat, although every hat has sold.
Right.
So, but I look for certain kinds of hats that'll go with the aesthetics of my closet. So, I'm having to learn as a reseller what sells for me, what sells in my store, who is the audience. And so we are faced with the task every department store has, every buyer has, to figure out what sells. Now, for things that don't sell well, what do you do with them? Do you try to clearance them out? Do you redonate them? What do you do?
I've never redonated anything yet. I have taken a few things to the local consignment stores when I'm in the area, the better ones in one of the bigger cities near us. I have taken a few things there, gotten some money back for them, which I'm perfectly fine with. Right now I have one certain piece that I just do not want to look at anymore, and I keep telling my husband, I swear I'm just going to redonate it. So I think it's coming time for my first redonation.
Yes, and another option is relisting.
Yes.
Right.
That
Which
you've
I've
heard
done
Poshmark
too.
talk
Yes.
about, and it really, truly does work.
It does work. You're absolutely
It just
right.
freshens it.
It's like when a house doesn't sell, you take it off the market, wait a minute, and then refresh it.
And sometimes a little self-evaluation as well. Like I'll ask myself, why maybe isn't this selling? Is it an older picture? Was my lighting not that
Does your
great?
title need a few more words?
Yes.
Description, something? Can you change something about it?
That's what I ask myself.
Yeah.
What can I do to maybe that it's not appealing to a buyer? And it does work. Relist it, kind of make those changes, give those little tweaks. And
I actually just relisted something maybe a week or so ago. My photos were terrible. They were from when I first started adding clothing. I rephotographed it, better lighting, better picture, and I think it sold in a week.
I think good pictures is a huge selling point on Poshmark.
Yeah, I mean, pictures are everything. And, I have sold things where I would say I went through different phases on Poshmark and on eBay where they were just bad pictures. For whatever was going on in my life, there wasn't the proper attention to pictures. And I remember thinking, these people are going to be really happy when they get it, if they buy it at all, because it's so much better than the picture.
Right.
And that happened with a pair of St. John pants I had that were brand new with tags, worst photos in the history of the world. The woman about fainted when she bought them and got them, and she was just like, I cannot believe it. And I'm like, oh, I know. I'm so glad you liked them. I know the pictures were terrible. So sometimes you get
nice
lucky,
surprise.
right?
Yes.
But mostly people are worried when it's not a good picture. So we become like catalogs. We become like we're doing all the stuff that everyone has ever done before. So it's so interesting that the new retail is, selling what already exists. And I love that from a recycling perspective, a repurposing perspective, the fact that we are killing our planet with all of this stuff. And I find that people, yes, you can get a bargain, but mostly they want something unique and different. Because when you go into the department stores, they put a coordinate group out, and the coordinate group sits there for half a year, going from full price to 20% off, and then it's 25%, and then it's a part markdown, then it's a permanent markdown. And it's the same stuff. And in what we do is constantly refreshed. It's constantly something new. We literally are fast fashion, right?
Right.
We are more fast than any Forever 21 or H&M or Zara, we are the fast fashion. If you think about it,
Yes.
just this moment occurred to me that we are so fast. It literally is something new. Could be every day,
Really,
right?
it is.
And I
Very
think
true.
that people are want to be stimulated, and they want something exciting, something different, something unique, something they've always looked for. And what happened? Interesting sidebar in this consignment shop. For the listeners, I co-own. Sorry, business partner. I co-own Walker Viden Luxury Consignment in Pasadena, California, and we had someone come in. And she saw this green, beautiful. What's one of those greens that just stops you in your tracks? Kelly green. I think it was Kate Spade. Shoulder bag, like some sort of structured bag with a handle strap. She walked in. The thing was gorgeous. And she took one look and she says, "OMG, I have been looking for this bag for 3 years.
Yes.
And here it is. Like it was almost brand new if it was used once." And so she bought it, and she just went on and on, put it on Instagram. She goes, "I've been looking for this bag for 3 years."
Nice.
And she gets a lot of compliments on it. And she turns out this person also happens to be a friend of mine and my business partner. And she just still talks about this bag. And so it brings the point that in terms of shopping, is that women, I know, we have a memory. We know about stuff we didn't get 3 years ago. We know about the one that got away, and we're not talking about a guy, right?
Oh, yes, we do.
We're talking
Yes.
about clothes. So people actually look for things they missed out on,
Yes.
or they have a favorite thing that they've worn out and they want to replace it. Like, and so resale becomes this wonderful, like, replacements Inc., so to speak,
Yes, it
for
does.
clothing, shoes, and accessories that we missed out on. And we know it's our sports. Our shopping is our sports. So we
Absolutely.
know. And I'm always looking for things that I missed out on, or that I want another one of, or I want another one in a different size,
Yes, or different color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
color, definitely.
So, I mean, we supply that. It's really kind of fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've enjoyed this talk. Is there anything else you want to add for the listeners about your experience with Poshmark? We're here at Poshfest in Phoenix, Arizona, hanging out in the lobby of the Hyatt,
Yes.
bringing this to you, just having a great time.
It's been wonderful.
It has, and I would say if
you're waiting to jump in, just
do it. That's my advice too.
Just jump in.
do
Don't
it.
be scared. Just do it.
Just do it.
Download the app.
Absolutely.
And just do it.
Take a dive. It's
Take a
good.
dive.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, you heard it here first at Poshmark's Poshfest 2019 in Phoenix, Arizona. This is Jennie Walker with Jenniegirl's Closet on Poshmark and Closet Conversations here that you're listening to now. I just want to thank Amanda Miller one more time. And Jane, you're going to pronounce your last name for me.
Ziaga.
Jane Ziaga.
None
Say
of
that.
You will forget it. Try to say that fast.
Say that three times. Jane Ziaga. Jane
Yes.
Ziaga. Jane Ziaga.
Yes.
Okay. And their stores on Poshmark are DC Girl 04 for Jane Ziaga, and Cute and Thrifty for Amanda Miller. And of course, you can always get Jenniegirl's Closet on Poshmark. Thank you for listening. This is Jennie Walker with Closet Conversations, and I will be bringing you more from Poshfest 2019. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.